Chapter 25. When we arrived home, Mother took Hannah straight to the bathroom, then bed. Father motioned for me to join him in our small living room. After a lengthy silence, Mother joined Father on the couch, though not immediately next to him. Father noticed with a barely distinguishable frown and a sigh, just before his face returned to a more neutral expression. "Corban, you've presented us with a problem. Put us in a difficult situation. Do you understand what that might be?" I had harbored a flicker of hope that he was finally going to address the less-than-fulfilling variety in our diet. After eating with the morals, that should have been obvious to anyone. As I looked at his face, however, I realized there was no way that was what he was talking about. I didn't know what to say, so I silently shook my head. Although I had the desire to look down at the floor, I didn't. Instead, I looked him steadily in the eyes. "Our problem is that we have a good reason for the simple diet we maintain at home, but you seem intent on changing that. I know we've explained it to you several times. Now explain it back to us." I tried to keep my voice even and neutral.
Food is fuel. It's not meant to be pleasurable. It keeps our bodies going. If it becomes too complex or tasteful, it detracts our focus from worship of the Creator.
I paused, then rather sarcastically added,
Is that it? Or did I miss something?
"That's quite enough. So, not only have you partaken of this excessively tasteful food on several occasions, and cooked it yourself of all things, you've also seen fit to help put our family in a situation where we had no choice but to do so ourselves, or risk offending our hosts. And they've welcomed us to return in the future, which means we'll have to make the same choice if we accept that offer. What then?" He stopped, glaring at me in silent anger. "Not only that, but think about what you've done to Hannah. Do you think she's old enough to understand? After the meal she clearly enjoyed, don't you think she'll find it odd that we don't eat like that here at home?"
Maybe it's something that needs to change, Father.
I suggested this firmly, barely keeping myself from grinding my teeth in frustration before continuing.
Over the summer term, I learned about food and nutrition in school. A variety of food provides lots of different vitamins and minerals that help our bodies grow and be healthy. Are you saying that the Creator doesn't want us to be healthy?
The Creator keeps us healthy and safe as we trust in Him. If we worship Him and keep our diet simple, just as your grandparents did before us and their parents before them.
And where are Grandpapa and Grandmama?
Heavy silence rang out as my words echoed and faded.
Where are your parents, Father? Maybe this is why they're not alive anymore. If they followed this same diet that lacked a variety of nutritious foods, maybe their lives were cut short. Look at Louis. He's still alive and well. And it's not just him. I've seen lots of people in the city that have grown older than 60 years old, even one of my teachers, Mr. Delacroix. And you yourself said that before the world changed, it was common for people to live way longer. Maybe people stopped living as long because their diets changed.
"Corban, that's enough." Father's interruption was quiet. His calm anger concerned me more than anything. It meant that he was acting with his head, not through his emotions. It meant that he would not be swayed in his decisions. And I hated that. I hated that his unswerving devotion to our Creator made it so that he wouldn't even consider the possibility that he might be wrong. Even if everyone in the whole city found out what was happening and condemned him for it, still he would not budge. Only one faint hope remained for fixing everything. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't care at that point. I turned to Mother, who was focused on the floor, avoiding both my gaze and Father's.
Mother, do you agree? Do you also believe this is how we should continue living? Don't you want what's best for me, what's best for Hannah?
I continued looking at only her, not Father. I didn't care to see the look of disgust that was surely on his face. After a minute of continuing to stare at the floor, Mother looked up to me.
Corban, what I think isn't what matters. You know better than to try to turn us against one another, don't you? If you have nothing else to say, I think it's time for you to go to bed.
I could still tell she was deeply troubled, but I nodded and stood. I felt numb, not physically but emotionally and mentally. I didn't know what to think or feel.
Good night, Mother. Good night, Father.
Good night, Corban. I understand this might not make sense, or seem fair. Please trust that we know what's best for our family. I nodded, rolling my eyes only after turning down the hallway. In the bathroom, I relieved myself and brushed my teeth. As I was walking out and going to my bedroom, I could hear my parents talking.
You must admit that Corban had a good point.
I stopped where I was, just outside my bedroom. I must admit nothing. Father's reply was sharp. I tried remembering if I had ever heard Father speak that way towards Mother before, but could recall no such instance. After Carlos, I was worried Corban might grow up to question our way, but I never imagined it would start so soon.
Even now, you still believe it's right? Even after his sound argument? You must understand how we look to him right now. Or do you even care, Stephen? If he truly believes we're starving him and Hannah, or we're all suffering from malnourishment, what will happen next? You've made a point of shutting out things from his life, but they can't stay shut out forever. That's become quite obvious. He has to grow up sometime. We can't just keep him locked up here every day. The tighter you hold on to him, the more forcefully he'll resist. He'll leave, and he'll never come back, just like Carlos.
Mother's voice sounded heavy, overcome with sorrow. Wanting to hear no more, I retreated to my bedroom. Already, I had heard too much. Surely Mother never would have said such things if she knew I was listening. I quickly readied myself for bed, and then lay down, pulling the sheets up past my head to block out any further hint of their conversation that might accidentally float into my room. I stopped to listen for a moment, but only the indistinct muffle of their voices could be heard from the living room.
Leave and never come back. Where would I go?
These questions and more plagued my thoughts as their conversation ended, and they prepared for bed as quietly as they could. As I gradually became drowsy, lying there in bed, no more words came from my parents, but I couldn't shut out the sound of Mother softly crying in their bedroom. At that, I wondered why I wasn't crying myself. I had been awaiting that evening's event for months, hoping it would go well and that it would encourage my parents to change. Finally, I realized that the outcome I had been silently dreading all along had come to pass. Of course, Mother was crying. She was mourning the lack of something in our lives that had once again been brought into sharp focus. Despite the wonderful afternoon and evening spent with the Morrels, I felt empty inside.